On this edition of Time About the Movies, Happy New Year, everybody. It's 2013, a brand new year of movies coming your way here. And what better way to celebrate by taking a look at some leftovers. But we have one new release this weekend. It's a horror movie being released on the first weekend of the new year. What do you think it's going to be? Texas Chainsaw 3D. Plus we have 6 leftover films, including The Sound of My Voice, the latest film from Britt Marling. We have The Oranges, starring Leighton Meester, the horror film Smiley, and 3 Warner Brothers DC animated movies, Superman vs. the Elite, Justice League Doom, and Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1. Let's start the new year off on a somewhat of a note here. 2013, January 4th, 2013, the 2012 Leftover Show today on Time About the Movies.
Texas Chainsaw, rated R, starts Friday.
Happy New Year! Here's a shitty horror movie for you. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Today we are taking a look at 7 films on this episode of January 4, 2013, aka the 2012 Leftovers. So before we get to these, let's talk about the biggest new release of the weekend, which is Texas Chainsaw 3D. In this one, you have the story centering around a woman played by Alexandra Daddario from Percy Jackson, who upon discovering that she is adopted, embarks on a road trip with her friends to collect her inheritance and ends up encountering the serial killer Leatherface. Now, what's interesting about this particular movie is that it's supposed to be serving as a direct sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. In fact, the first 5 minutes of the movie is literally taking place after the events of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. So, yeah, they're really going all in on the idea that this is supposed to be a direct sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the first 5 minutes. And then they completely abandon that and go straight to yet another boring-ass, generic, been-there-done-that sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I am not even kidding you. The first 5 minutes of this movie shows so much promise, and then, as soon as it ends, we're back to crap again, because, literally, the movie just completely falls off the face of the earth and just turns into yet another boring, generic, lazy Texas Chainsaw movie. It's the same thing you've seen in every other film, except the films that came before this actually tried. If you have a movie that makes Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning seem more competent than this, you have clearly screwed up big time here. I mean, this is a mess of a film on so many levels, from just the way it was set up to the way it comes out at the end. There's nothing about this movie that's worth it. The twist, which you can see coming a mile away, isn't even that intimidating whatsoever. Spoiler alert, Alexandra Daddario is actually the daughter of Leatherface. That's literally what the twist is. And I don't care if I spoil it for you. I just don't care, because, yeah, there's no reason to see this movie except the fact that, you know, hey, you got a nice 5-minute scene there, and hey, Alexandra Daddario's we're going to make her into a star because she's got those big knockers on her. Well, technically, this was just before stuff like True Detective and all that, but yeah, they were basically putting her in there because, yeah, she's got a body that could kill, and the boobs to top it off too. But yeah, this is a bad movie. This is a really, really terrible movie, and what a wonderful way to start the new year off, honestly. So with that said, we got rid of the crappy film, so let's go ahead and get to the leftovers. We have our first one here, Britt Marling's latest film, The Sound of My Voice.
We're survivors, beyond your wildest imagination.
Well, technically, she kind of co-wrote this movie and stars in it. She didn't direct it, unlike the last movie she did, Another Earth, but in this one, it's a psychological thriller focusing on 2 documentary filmmakers who infiltrate a cult led by a charismatic woman who claims to be from the future. So this is directed by Zal Mangila. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he would later go on to direct stuff like The East and also work on Britt Marling's Netflix series, The OA. And it's an intriguing little film. It's a movie that could be seen as kind of pretentious in a little, in any way, shape, or form, but not exactly in the way that I think the film is really trying to make it seem like it is. I mean, it's done a lot more cleverly than the trailer gives you credit for. I mean, it's an interesting film on so many levels, from a visual perspective, from what it's trying to accomplish in terms of the meaningful aspects of it. Let me just put it this way: Imagine if The Cell was competent and wasn't just a pretentious piece of ask me what it means type of garbage. That's this movie in a nutshell, and it does its job pretty well. A good cast. It also includes Christopher Denham and also Constance Wu from Fresh Off the Boat. James Urbaniak from the Venture Brothers is in this movie too. And it's not that long of a movie. It's only about an hour and a half long. I mean, it's a film that just kind of comes and goes, and it's fine for what it is. It's doing a pretty good job overall. Not one of her better films overall for Britt Marling, but it's a good movie overall. One of those nice little surprises I came across. So that is the sound of my voice. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is The Oranges.
Oh, thank you, Terry.
The Oranges, rated R, starts October 5th in select theaters.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that's really, really confusing on so many levels. It chronicles how two families deal with a scandal involving a married man and his friend's daughter. The daughter being played by Leighton Meester, and the father and the married man played by Hugh Laurie. And it's got some potential to it, but yeah, it's a mess of a film. It's a film that I think really didn't have a clear indication of what the overall message of the movie was supposed to be, and it really, it takes on the tropes of, this older man can't hang out with this younger girl, and it's just like that type of stuff, and it's just kind of like, what are we even doing by this point in the long run? It just really never really feels like they had a true indication of what they were trying to accomplish here, and lo and behold, the film itself just feels like a mess on so many different levels, and despite its strong cast, it includes also Catherine Keener, Adam Brody, Alia Shawkat, Oliver Platt, Allison Janney, Aya Cash. I mean, good talent all across the board here. This director, Julian Farino, has actually done a lot of good TV work. He did a lot of episodes of Entourage, but yeah, the film overall is a really big, sloppy mess of a movie that really has no indication of what they're trying to do here, but the end result is just kind of a mixed bag with an idea that probably could work, but it needed a better script to really work with here, So yeah, that's my thoughts on The Oranges. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is the horror film, Smiley.
This one's gonna go Smiley on me.
Evil wears a new mask. Smiley. Saturday on Horror.
Where did he come from?
Why, yes, a creature so terrifying that they aren't even going to show you what it looks like. I mean, it worked for Child's Play, except Child's Play was actually legitimately terrifying as a kid, and this thing is not. Let me put it this way to you. If Shane Dawson is one of your biggest stars in the movie, and also the chick from the Book of American Pie presents the Book of Love, and Postal, maybe it's not a good sign for this movie going forward, but Ashley is going to a new college while getting over the death of her mother. She meets some new people there, including Binder, played by Shane Dawson, while at a party, and she learns about an urban legend of an online killer that has the nickname Smiley, who can only be seen on the web, and he apparently kills people after they type in, "I did it for the lulz" 3 times. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. We're only halfway through this, and this is one of the stupidest things I've ever read in my entire life. I'll continue on here, but soon after going to the party, Ashley and her flatmate Proxy go online to test it out with horrific results. She becomes paranoid. She starts thinking to think she sees Smiley all over the place and feels that he may be chasing her. But how can that be if he's not real? Have they somehow released him from the internet? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my god. This is one of the stupidest plot synopsises I've ever read in my entire life. That's how terrible this movie is. It is one of the stupidest ideas ever. It is nothing but a lazy ripoff of Candyman and Scream and you can even throw in Smile in there, because that's literally the same kind of setup here for Smile, but Smile's different because Smile was legitimately terrifying to watch. There's nothing terrifying about this shit at all. This was a movie made at the time when 4chan was the norm, and people went on there, the filmmakers went on there to try to boost this as like a viral marketing hit, and it was just nothing like that at all. Like, this is one of the most hilariously bad movies. This is not even hilariously bad. This is one of the most abysmal movies I have ever seen in my entire life. It's not scary. It's not threatening. There's nothing even that funny about it. And shame on the people that are in this movie. Roger Bart and Keith David. Like, Keith David's a badass, man. He deserves better than this garbage. This is a fucking insult of a film. This film is just... Ugh. But... Oh my god, that plot synopsis. That plot synopsis alone was one of the funniest things I've ever read in my entire life. It got stupider and stupider and stupider as it went on. But, yeah, there you go. That's all I can say about Smiley, which is really all you need to know about how bad this movie is. So, why don't we actually get to the good stuff? We've had some pretty bad stinkers all this episode, but we finally going to turn the tide around with our DC animated movies. One would think, although the first one's not instilling a whole lot of confidence in me. First off, Superman versus the Elite. I think you can kind of see the problem of this movie right from the get-go. Superman's effectiveness as a superhero comes into question when a new group of superpower crusaders known as the Elite appear on the scene. As superheroes, the Elite know no bounds and are more than willing to kill, even on a massive scale, to stop villainy, putting them on a collision course with the ever ethical, yet preferably non-lethal Man of Steel. And right from that trailer alone, I was not sold on this movie, specifically because the Elite just look like the most emo hipster villain team I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I could beat them up, and I'm not a superhero, but I could beat these little assholes up. They don't seem like they have a big plan except to just destroy the world because they're evil, and the animation in this is bizarre. Like, what the hell am I even looking at here? Superman looks less like what he looks like in past animated outings, but he looks like a parody of Superman in a story where he has a chin that would make even Jay Leno blush. Like, the Crimson Chin is more dignified than Superman in this movie, and that was a parody of Superman. But all I could think to myself was, yeah, the trailer really was not making me want to see this movie, and I'm kind of glad I waited until later on down the road to see it, because man, this is a dull, boring-ass movie. I mean, the animation is way too cartoonish for DC. Like, this is something you would see in the Looney Tunes show or the Flintstones than a DC animated movie. But for DC, whose animated films have had groundbreaking animation styles in the past, and still have it to this very day, this feels really out of place and just completely unnecessary for a film like this. The script is bland overall. It's just a group of superpowered emo hipsters who just want to save the world by killing the bad guys because Superman doesn't kill people, which, yeah, it's a lame reason to do so. I mean, this is like if Zack Snyder wrote the script for this, which he basically did with the live-action Superman film that comes out the following summer. But this isn't a character's motivation when the reason the character is doing this is because another character does the opposite. It's just like, give us a better motivation than that. The action sequences are forgettable, and the final conflict sucks. The lame ending that just is over a couple minutes. It's over in a couple minutes, and it's just like, why are these guys threatening? Like, what is the point of this movie's existence except the fact that, hey, these movies make money? Like, this literally felt like the first DC animated movie that I've seen where it felt like they were only making it for the quick buck. I mean, that's how bad it is. It's lame, it's boring, it's predictable, it's stupid. It's just a big waste of time. The Elite are terrible characters, the script is really bland, the action sequences are terrible, the animation is terrible. It's just a bad mess of a movie, man. This is a movie that should be so much better from DC, who make these great movies, and then this one just comes and just dismantles it all together, so... Yeah, needless to say, you can avoid Superman vs. the Elite like the plague. So, why don't we get to a good DC animated movie released in 2012, and this was one of their best ones overall, Batman The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1.
The war goes on.
Obviously, this is based off of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns from 1986, which is easily considered to be one of the greatest graphic novels of all time. This is not the first time this has been adapted into a form of entertainment, as Batman the Animated Series actually did this with Legend of the Dark Knight, where you had Michael Ironside playing the role of Batman. Batman had not been seen in 10 years, but a new breed of criminal ravages Gotham City, forcing 55-year-old Bruce Wayne back into the cape and cowl, but does he still have what it takes to fight crime in a new era? The voice cast in this includes Peter Weller as Batman, Ariel Winter from Modern Family as Carrie Kelly, David Selby as Commissioner Gordon, Wade Williams as Two-Face, Michael McKean as Dr. Bartholomew Wolper, and Michael Emerson as the Joker. Now, to adapt one of the best-known stories in comic history is one of the most difficult things to do, and without a big writer and director that could have handled such a project. There's a lot of doubt here. The director of this is Jay Olivia, who, the last movie he directed was Green Lantern Emerald Knights, which wasn't that great overall, but you got a writer like Bob Goodman, who's done very well with adaptations of DC properties in the past, working on both the animated series of Batman and Superman, Static Shock, the Zeta Project. It's a mixed bag that could go either way, but the result is not only yet another great DVD Batman movie, but this is pretty high up there with stuff like Under the Red Hood. I mean, this is definitely one of the best movies that they've done with the DC animated movies. The voice cast, spectacular. Peter Weller perfectly fits into the role of Batman in his 50s. I actually really found myself enjoying Ariel Winter as Carrie Kelly. The rest of the cast overall really was great. Nobody ever felt miscasted in this. The animation is great, the action is well done, the script does a good job of splitting the comic up and leading us want to see more with the next film that comes out the following year. This definitely is a really good animated film from DC. This is the antithesis, the opposite of what Superman vs. the Elite was. It's just a great adaptation of one of the greatest novels of all time, Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1. Terrific start to this series overall. So we have one more DC film to look at here. Let's see which one we'll get. Will we get the bad one? Will we get the good one? Let's see what Justice League Doom. Kind of in the middle. In this one, the Justice League are a team of great power, but also a personal secret that they thought safe. That changes when the immortal supervillain Vandal Savage, played by Phil Morris, Jackie Childs from Seinfeld, I am shocked and chagrined, mortified and stupefied, that guy, has Batman's Batcave secretly raided to learn them all and more. Soon the Leaguers are individually beset by their enemies who attack them with inescapable death traps specifically designed with that information. With that, all seems lost until an indomitable knight and a young titan combine to deliver salvation, even as Savage uses the opportunity to implement a far grander scheme. As the synopsis says, a lot of the cast is comprised by people who have played these characters before in past installments. You have people like Kevin Conroy back as Batman, Tim Daly back as Superman, Susie Eisenberg as Wonder Woman, Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, Michael Rosenbaum as The Flash, David Kaufman back as Jimmy Olsen, and they're all very good reprising their roles. The rest of the film itself is just okay. The script, I think, works very well. The animation is nicely done. At about 77 minutes, it's a good pace. It doesn't feel like they could have made it much longer, unlike what Batman Year 1 was. The action sequences are fine in this, but there's a lot of homages to the original Super Friends cartoons as well as the comics. It's a good movie, not a great one. Nothing about it really came off as completely memorable about it, but I think it's worth watching overall. But if you're expecting something on the levels of Under the Red Hood or The Dark Knight Returns Part 1, you're going to be disappointed by it. Overall, a good film, but not a great one overall. Justice League Doom. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we take a look at two more movies that kick off 2013, and let's just say that this is the dumping weeks between this Christmas and the middle of February, and it certainly shows with this week. We've got Marlon Wayans returning into the world of parody comedies with Scary Movie with a haunted house, which somehow became a big hit for reasons that are beyond me, because let's just say it's not a good movie. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll take a look at Ruben Fleischer's Gangster Squad, a movie that was actually supposed to open in September. However, a specific event happened in the middle of the summer that basically told Warner Brothers to push this back so they could cut a critical scene out there. I'll explain more about that tomorrow on the show, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk about Gangster Squad with Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, and Jason Clarke among the cast, and then Josh Brolin's also in this too. So those two movies we'll take a look at tomorrow. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and check out the... Let me do this again. Thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification button. There we go. And then you can go ahead and hit our playlist. And then you can go ahead and check out the last episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.